In this inaugural episode, I review 4 different audio commentaries on the classic horror comedy film from the mid-80s, Return of the Living Dead.
The second review.
Commentary 1. Our first commentary is by co-author of The Complete History of the Return of the Living Dead, Gary Smart, and Chris Griffiths. They start off by wowing you with their quaint English accents. This makes for an extra entertaining watch. This is my favorite commentary of the 4 because it reminded me of a chat between a couple of chaps. They discuss the novelization of the movie and bring up a bunch of really interesting 80s sci-fi movies that are definitely worth a watch. Invaders from Mars, Children of the Corn, Dead and Buried, Dark Star, and Zorro the Gay Blade, just to name my favorites. It could very easily pass for a good podcast about horror and sci-fi movies from the 80s. They have many behind-the-scenes facts and industry names. If a film and horror enthusiast wanted to study some of the great technicians, effect artists, directors, and a plethora of support crew names in films from the 20th century, they would gather a lot of reference material from this fast-paced discussion between these two aficionados. They discuss how they change the way certain zombies say brains and other differences between the VHS and DVD market, and argue which version of brains sounds better. This is the commentary for horror fans and sci-fi films, and these are the chaps to hear out. I will look out for their books. Commentary 2. This next one has actors John Philbin, Tom Matthews, and makeup effects artist Tony Gardner. Things that I found most interesting about this track. A fact about the making of t-shirts for the marketing of the film. They bring up a famous real slap that actor Don Caffa gives to actor Miguel A. Nunez Jr. during an intense scene. Subsequently, there's a real freakout by Nunez Jr. on this set. This commentary did not have much in the way of information. It is mostly just some reflection on times during the making of the film. Most of the questions that these 3 ponder can be answered in the first commentary by Smart and Griffiths. The fans seem to know much more than the cast and crew do. There was a sentimental moment at the end where Tony Gardner declared his love for the fandom and his wonder at the people who get Return of the Living Dead tattoos and the respect he gets for his part in the work. Commentary 3. This commentary track has first-time director Dan O'Bannon and production designer William Stout. The first 30 minutes is okay because they hit all the good information right off the top. They discuss ordering skulls from India for medical purposes during the making of some of the special effects, costumes, and models. Apparently, at the time, ordering medical skulls from India was somewhat common due to the lack of regulations in America. We learn that O'Bannon did effects for Star Wars. O'Bannon tells an anecdote about how when he worked special effects for Lucas on Star Wars, he saw a look of distaste on Lucas's face in regards to some of O'Bannon's cheap special effects involving an inflatable ball in Dark Star. A real use what you got moment. There are many retrospective moments, including things he did and didn't do, things he wished he did, things that he tried to do that either he failed or succeeded at doing, and directors he was trying to emulate. Real first-time director stuff. There was some real calf eating by the director and some of the cast in a Fear Factor type spirit. If you know that around the 57-minute mark, you can catch some real cow brain eating. I don't know if the 2 guys from the first commentary had heard any of these other commentaries before they recorded theirs. It seems that almost all of the tidbits about this production is covered in great detail by them, and much more in their 131-minute track. I would skip this commentary entirely unless you have some affinity for the movie. To look at the resume of these 2 is something to behold nonetheless. Commentary 4. In this track, we have 5 actors: Don Caffa, Linnea Quigley, Brian Peck, Beverly Randolph, Alan Troutman, and again, William Stout. This is where I complain. I'm not really into a commentary with more than 2 people. It is so saturated by the beginnings of thoughts and member berries. This is such a huge waste of talent and time. I would much rather hear the female cast on their own and skip all the rest in this unnecessary fourth commentary. The only thing they discuss of note is the detail about the skulls from India. They claim that the skulls would always show up with the teeth in good condition, so that their theory is that the skulls might have belonged to younger people. Summary. I must confess, by the time I got to this commentary, I felt commentaried out. I asked myself, is this movie as good as it is worth all of these commentaries? Is it really interesting enough to watch over 6 hours of the same movie and listen to about a dozen people talk through a perfectly good 90-minute movie? No. If you're looking to be entertained by audio commentary, then you'll find little of that here. There's no Arnold Schwarzenegger, no comedy, just a bunch of loving cast and crew retelling old tales. I'm glad they keep getting work for their past efforts, and I hope they keep profiting from the fandom, but I would not recommend 3 of the 4 of these commentaries. If I were to rate this entire experience, I would give it a total of 4 zombie heads out of a possible 10 zombie heads. I would give the first commentary a standalone 8 zombie heads. I'm Just Bud. Thanks for watching the second review.